The Boston Bruins have made a very sneaky signing for the remainder of the season for a defenseman who could make this NHL roster come next season. We also have some news about Andrew Peeke, some words that he's spoken out on about his trade, and why this trade is still such a very good one, and could be one of the best of the deadline. So we're going to be talking about all of that here in this video. Before we get into all of this though, we notice that 95% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're looking for a spot to stay up to date with all the latest Bruins news, you're in the right spot. Make sure to hit the sub button so you don't miss out on any of the news as it happens, and we'll be the first to upload it, or try to be in most cases. But as I said, let's get straight into this first topic here, which is a very sneaky signing the Bruins made today from a college defenseman from Notre Dame. Now, this comes out from, many of the Bruins analysts, as well as the Bruins themselves on their X or Twitter. This one here is from Connor Ryan. It says, the Bruins have signed defenseman Drew Bavaro to a one-year entry-level contract with an NHL cap hit of $867K. The 6'3" right-shot defenseman posted 20 points in 35 games with Notre Dame this season, and then played also 2 seasons at Bentley. Will report to Providence this year on an amateur tryout. Now, a lot of people I've seen reply to this tweet saying, who is he? Not a very big name. A guy who, like I said, is, a very big defenseman. Good guy on the ice as well from what we've seen with Notre Dame. He's 20 points in 35 games. But he's also a 23-year-old, which is not very common. You see one of these guys coming out of college at this late to sign an NHL deal. But from what his stats look like, from the highlights that we've seen from, the college season this year, this looks like it could be a very, very good signing for the Bruins come time. Now, obviously, it's only a one-year deal, so it will be dependent on how he plays in the AHL this year. It's going to be his first professional hockey of his career, excluding college. First, actual professional will be with the Providence Bruins. So I'll pull up his stats here. From what we've seen at Notre Dame and Bentley, he's been very consistent with points as a defenseman. He's also a very big body. There's some highlights that I've seen that I'll probably put in the description if I can, a link to a YouTube video showing one of his games against Michigan, where his puck control, his puck IQ, his movement is very, very crisp. It's very good, and something that I think is going to be a thing to watch, especially with Providence. See what he can do there. Now, from what we've seen, from what we've read, that he will be spending his time in the AHL for now. But, there's many cases where a guy gets hurt, someone needs to come up. It could very well be him. From what we've seen in college at least, he looks like he could be a special talent on the blue line. From, the highlights you've seen from his play style, it's not very often we see a guy at his size have the play style that he does. He's very good with the puck, great hands, great movement. So this is going to be one to watch, folks. I do think that Drew Bavaro has a great opportunity here with the Providence Bruins, especially on a playoff team like the Boston Bruins, who will be, for the foreseeable future, a competitive team, from what I'm seeing, from what I'm thinking. And Drew Bavaro could definitely be one of these guys that could sneak into this roster. A lot of people might not know who he is, and I think could do very well in this position. So, like I said, a guy to keep an eye out. I would check out, if I can get the video in the description, I'll put it there. Do recommend checking out some of his highlights, because they're pretty good for a 6'3" defenseman who uses his body well, and the play style that he has, it's not very common to see in the NHL nowadays. But let's move over to the Andrew Peeke situation, see what he has to say about his trade to the Boston Bruins. A lot of people have really been questioning this trade. Why trade for him? He hasn't really been consistent with the Blue Jackets this year, but there are some reasons that I think this trade's going to work out, and it could be one of the best trades, most underrated trades of this deadline. So this is what he had to say about his trade. He says, I think that with how this year has gone, the biggest thing for me was I just wanted to play hockey. The past 2 years, I've played pretty much every game, and not that you can get comfortable, but you get in a routine of doing that. So obviously, with how this year went, you just want to play hockey, and obviously finding out the news that I was coming to a place like Boston and being able to compete for the playoffs, that's all you can ask for as a player, and something I haven't had yet. So I'm super thrilled about that. Very excited to see that Andrew Peeke is, ready to join this team, excited to join this team, and hopefully we'll find a roster spot soon. I hope they replace Kevin Shattenkirk with him. I've really had enough of Kevin Shattenkirk trying to play a bit of defense here on this team. He never seems to be close to the plays, so that's for a later video. But Andrew Peeke, once again, he has a lot of stuff to say, and here's a really big piece, not from Andrew Peeke himself, but from other people that, it really shows why this is a good trade for the Bruins. Andrew Peeke needed to change of scenery, to put it lightly. And this is from the same article as well, I should mention that. The 25-year-old defenseman was a regular contributor on the Blue Jackets over the last few seasons, playing in 162 out of a possible 164 games in Columbus from 2021 to 2023, averaging 21-22 of ice time per game over that extended stretch. Very good numbers for a defenseman who was playing just about every game for those 2 seasons. Now, there's more to this here, and I'll just read the rest of this, and then we'll talk about that. But this year was different story for Parkland, Florida native. Even with Columbus looking at an extensive rebuild, Peeke only played in 23 games with the Jackets in 23-24 this season, averaging just 15 minutes of ice time per contest. With a rangy blue liner signed through 2025-26 season with an annual cap hit of $2.75 million, Peeke was viewed as a potential buyout candidate this offseason. Now, this is a very good situation for Andrew Peeke to be able to get to a playoff team, a team where he can compete. But that's the important thing there, is what we've seen is the games played that he had with Columbus. I'll pull up his stats here. You can see, no excellent numbers with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, obviously, the plus minus there, not a pretty sight, but that's a whole different situation. The Blue Jackets are not a team that was supposed to be good. We know how bad they were last year, and the season before they were not much better. But, the plus minus, I really don't think you can look at for a defenseman on a bad team when getting traded. There's a lot of stuff that it's about everybody else on the ice, not just that one player. But, uses his body well. Another 6'3" guy, 210, just about the same size as Drew Bavaro, funny enough. But I think with the Bruins now, once he gets back to that form that he's been over those 2 seasons with the Blue Jackets, being able to play that 21 minutes time on ice for every game except 2 for 2 full seasons, that's a very exciting number to see for a defenseman that they can acquire for just about nothing, who's under contract for a few more years at a very low price. That's a spot that the Bruins can fill up for, those years that he's signed under. Maybe move Kevin Shattenkirk out of here, who is going to be, he's not at the peak of his career anymore. He's kind of at the tail end, not playing his greatest hockey. And I think this is a great opportunity to put Andrew Peeke in this lineup, get him ready, have him play back to a consistent level, what he was doing his entire career. You can't blame someone for not playing greatest when they're playing only every second or third game, as he was with the Blue Jackets. So I think what he's excited for is getting back into this routine, being able to play for a playoff team. We haven't seen that in his career. And he's a very promising young defenseman who I think wants and needs that extended playing time, consistent playing time with this team. And I think that now that he has help around him, his true colors will be able to shine with this team going forward once he gets in the lineup and once he gets used to this lineup. They didn't play him last night against St. Louis due to just getting there, not really getting into the system yet, but that won't take very long to have this guy into the system, be ready to play with the Bruins. I think it's going to be a very exciting time when he gets into this lineup. So, let me know what you think about Drew Bavaro. This is obviously a very interesting signing. A lot of people don't really know about him. I wasn't too familiar, had to do a bit of research, as I'm sure many Bruins fans and many of you guys will be doing for him on this interesting signing, as well as Andrew Peeke, a very good signing, or a good trade, that I believe will eventually play out well and work out extremely well for the Boston Bruins. There's no rush. There's no need to rush him into this lineup yet. Signed under for, 2 or 3 more years, the 25-26 season. So I'm excited to see what those two can do once their groove gets set in Providence for Drew Bavaro and the Bruins for Andrew Peeke. So, let me know what you think about those two, but that's all I got here. If you want to keep up to date, like I said, with all the Bruins news, make sure to hit the sub button. We're posting just about, every day so far, but just about, twice a day, keeping every bit of Bruins news up to date. So, if you want to hit the sub button, make sure to keep it up. Keep up to date with all the news. Do it. We enjoy it. Appreciate the support, and it's been pretty awesome lately. But that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.